Welcome to the Real Freedom Podcast, where we inspire you to pursue your passion to gain time and financial freedom through opportunities in real estate. I'm your host, Mike Swenson. Let's get some real freedom together. Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of the Real Freedom Podcast, where we talk about building wealth, gaining time and financial freedom through various opportunities in real estate. And so today, very excited to share, we've got Maria Quattrone here, and she has her hands in a lot of different businesses. You've been in business for a long time in the real estate industry. So a little bit about her: founder and CEO of Maria Quattrone and Associates with Remax. Also Motto Mortgage Expert Solutions, and you have 28 years sales and marketing experience, leading one of the most successful real estate groups in the Philadelphia metro area with 2,700 properties and over $700 million in sales. So with a passion to help create generational wealth, which I'd love to talk about, you work tirelessly as an investor, public speaker, visionary podcast host of Be the Solution, and also creator of the Pennsylvania Real Estate Scholarship Program, where you provide scholarships for women and minorities and take them through your Rise in Real Estate Academy. So you've got your hands in a lot of stuff. I know that all just didn't happen overnight, but welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk to you today, Mike.
Well, why don't you just start? Everybody kind of wants to know usually how you get into real estate, how that journey started. So share with us how that began for you.
So my journey in real estate started when I was about 10 years old. I went door knocking and I was selling Christmas or Hanukkah greeting cards and wrapping paper. And I had found a little brochure at my house. It said, for every item you sold, you made $1. And my inspiration to do that and motivation was because I wanted to buy my family Christmas presents from the church bazaar that we had every year. And so there I go. And I sold 128 items that year. So I made $128 and I bought all my family presents. Fast forward, after college, during college, I did an internship at KYW TV, which was at the time an NBC affiliate. And I was able to land my first job, my career selling TV airtime for another NBC affiliate, very small one, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And from there went to work in Philadelphia radio for the next decade, selling airtime and marketing programs to local businesses, regional accounts, and national accounts as well, and doing sales and marketing programs for them to drive sales. After all that, so lots of door knocking, lots of cold calls. Very few people can buy radio advertising. I had to do a lot of groundwork, which paved the way for my real estate career, which started 18 and a half years ago.
And I know for a lot of people, getting into real estate, it's the handling the rejection, overcoming adversity. Those are the things that tend to trip people up. And so having already had that experience, kind of going through that, cutting your teeth, doing those hard things, how was it transitioning to real estate then? Did you find like, okay, I don't have to overcome the same challenges that people have because you've already overcome that mentally the 10 years prior?
I thought it was super easy, and I was afraid to tell anybody else about the business.
Because everybody else struggles so much to get into real estate.
Yeah. And so I literally worked 7 days a week. I didn't care. I didn't even feel like it was work. I loved working with the buyers, sellers. I had a team within less than a year of being in the business. And so that didn't go over very well with a lot of people because it was about 2005 and teams weren't very popular. Let alone somebody not even in the industry for a year, starting a team and doing all this business. And so it was like, who does she think she is? Where the heck did I come from? So there was that.
So how did that team start for you then? Did you start with admin support, or did you, kind of naturally attract agents right out of the gate?
So I had to get an admin after I went full time because I literally could not handle the paperwork. I am not a paperwork. I'm not an administrator. I struggle right now, just trying to get anything that's administrative done because it is not my suit. I don't like it. So I either had to do one of two things: get an admin or quit. I wasn't going to quit. So I hired an admin within 2 months of being in the industry. And then I was doing all this business and I'm like, "Oh, I need help." So I like talked my sister into getting her real estate license. And she came over, and then another guy that was in the radio industry, he came over, and then another a girl, young woman, she came and worked with us. So then we got another assistant, and then kind of grew from there.
Just kind of curious from like a transaction standpoint or a volume standpoint, what were those first couple of years like for you?
So my first year I started in March, and I closed 17 transactions. I just did about 5 million, and I was part-time. I had
Mhm.
a full-time career in the radio business. And then in year two, I closed about I think it was 8 million and 38 transactions. But that was in 2005. That was a lot of business back then. And then it just went from there, 50 to 75 to 100 and over that. And I worked just at two brokerages basically before opening my own
Mhm.
8.5 years ago. So I
Mhm.
actually have my own company now longer than I was at the last place. So that's pretty good.
What
It
does your
is.
team look like today?
So we have a brokerage firm, and in our brokerage firm, we run as a team organization. So everybody works on the Maria Quattrone and Associates group.
Mhm.
And well, there's lots of reasons why for that. So they can utilize the power of that brand. But we want each agent to work to also build their brand within our brand. We have about 20 licensees at the moment, and field services, marketing, some three VAs in the Philippines, and then about four on-site staff. So and then our mortgage. So there's about 30 people in the organization right
Mhm.
now, and we're growing. I mean, our goal by the end of next year is to be at 100 licensees in our company.
I know you had mentioned about helping the people on your team grow their brand within your brand. That's something that I
Absolutely.
feel like has been really important as well, being in real estate for 8 years. When people join teams, they like the leverage that a team supplies. And then sometimes they feel like, hey, rightfully so, I want to get some credit here. I want to be known as a person, that's successful in real estate. And so finding a way where you can do that underneath a figurehead or a larger team, I think is a good recipe for success for those teams to grow, because if you can retain that person to build their wealth and grow their real estate business inside of your business, it's a win-win versus feeling like, oh, I've got to leave and go somewhere else to do my
A
own thing.
100%. We have a lot of new agents that come into our organization, and
Hmm.
we make it clear up front that we're a destination and not a stepping stone.
Yeah.
So we want people to be here for a very long time, and we want to grow with them. In fact, and if they want to start their own team within the organization, that they can go ahead and do that. I mean, at the end of the day, someday we may just be Maria Quattrone and Associates, or some
Hmm.
other name. We joined the Remax brand, and I believe it to be a really strong, powerful brand, because at the time it didn't make sense to. I didn't want to struggle with who's MQA or MQRA at the time. We were
Yep.
when we're doing business in the suburbs.
Hmm.
So it made sense to me to affiliate with a strong brand like Remax.
How does that work for those people that are maybe considering doing something like that? How do you go through that process of getting your own office?
Well, you first have to see if you can get a franchise, purchase the franchise, and figure out where's the location to be. I mean, it's a lot. In hindsight, I don't know if I would have done it had I known what I had to do. I mean, I went through a lot because I'm not an operator by nature. So
Hmm.
I had to learn to be an operator, which annoys me
Hmm.
because I'm more of a sales and marketing kind of gal. And so when I had to step into things that you don't like to do and you have to learn how to do, I had to learn by that, or I was going to like drown. So I didn't want to drown. But, it's definitely a long term thing, a plan, vision. And the vision is through our PA Real Estate Scholarship. We also have New Jersey Real Estate Scholarship. We are licensed in New Jersey, and we'll be expanding that. The PA Real Estate Scholarship we plan to bring 100, it's primarily women and minorities,
Hmm.
through the scholarship program, which starts with not just being licensed. We get them licensed, we mentor them during that time. We indoctrinate them into our system immediately. So even though they're in real estate school, they've been here. Like yesterday, we had a luncheon for them. They come for lunch and they come for a sales meeting.
Hmm.
And we want them to see our culture and to deliver what the expectations are immediately.
Hmm.
And so they're able to meet some of the other their colleagues. And through that program, though, my goal over the next several years, because it's going to take several years to do this, is to have changed 100 people's lives within 24 months of being in the industry, to have them earning a six-figure income, getting them set up if they don't own the home to buy a home, and
Hmm.
then teaching them real estate, how to invest in real estate. Because we make our money in real estate, we earn money in real estate to live, and we build long-term wealth by owning homes, our own first, and
Hmm.
then owning homes for investment.
That's awesome. And I mean, the game's changed when in building teams, like you have to bring a lot more value now because there's a lot more teams out there. Before, when you said how there weren't really many teams when you first started, it was kind of like, okay, great. Like, just here, you've got a license and a pulse. So now come join my team, and it's great. But now people are seeing, the competitive advantages of teams has raised the bars raised quite a bit. And so you do have to bring a lot of value. And like you said, it's more than just get the license, it's the mentorship, it's kind of helping them get those first few successes and wins along the way, because
Yeah,
real estate's a tough industry to see success in. Over 80% of people are gone in 2 years. And so
yeah.
it's not just get your license, it's
There's a
show
lot of
them what to do.
yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that too. So one of the things that we do is once they are actually here at our company, we have a 2 week, it's called Rise in Real Estate Academy, where they go through all the basic training
Hmm.
of how to do real estate. So learning the scripts and dialogues of LP Mama, how to do a buyer consult,
Hmm.
how to set appointments with a buyer to do the buyer consult, showing property, doing open houses, writing contracts. Those five basic fundamentals are what they need to be able to build up some confidence to go ahead and do it. Because the
Hmm.
worst thing that can happen is an agent doesn't even want to set an appointment because they don't even know what to do to show a house, let alone write the contract.
Yep.
So there's like a lot of time people just spend going on a hamster wheel in circles and not getting anywhere. And one of the other things that I noticed in the industry, and this has gone on for a long time, is that always people show me your daily schedule. What are you doing daily? How many conversations are you having? Most of the time, there's no schedule and there's no conversations being had. So
Hmm.
people fill out of real estate because not because of real estate, because they're not taking the action. So this is an action oriented industry. And regardless of whatever the economy's doing, it really doesn't matter because there's ways to buy and sell real estate.
Hmm.
And even though the economy's going sideways, interest rates are going up, sales are down 30% in Philadelphia County this year to date. There was 20,000 transactions done, which means there were 40,000 opportunities. So
Yep.
40,000 opportunities. How many of them do you want? The business is there. You got to find it, you got to get it. And in our organization, they can call into our database, which we have over 25,000 people in our database.
Hmm.
So there are people in there, they already know who we are. I market to them every single week. They get videos from me about market update, what's going on in investing, in new listings that we have for investing. And I do these Facebook Live videos. And also, I do videos called Rise in Real Estate
Hmm.
about real estate tips for real estate agents.
Yep.
So I'm doing a lot of content and just trying to give back and being a contributor to our community and teaching others as
Yep.
much as I can.
One of the best things that I heard when I first got into real estate was, talking about the abundance mentality of real estate, right? And somebody had told me, there's an ocean of opportunity, and whether you back up to the ocean with a shovel and a bucket and fill your bucket full of water, or whether you have a dump truck, the ocean doesn't care. The ocean, the level of the ocean's not going to care if you back a dump truck into the ocean. So you could do 5 transactions, you could do 100 transactions, and there's still plenty of business out there to be done. And the other beauty is that another agent or another large team in the market doesn't have to fail in order for you to succeed, you both can be wildly successful. And so, depending on your team, your brand, whatever that looks like, everybody can be successful in the market when you do the right things. And so for new people, yeah, it's like you said, how many transactions do you want? You can go get them. You have to know how to go get them. But on the downside, it's if you didn't back up to the ocean with anything, the ocean still doesn't care. And so I think that's why people aren't successful, because like you said, they're not having the conversations, they're not doing the things they need to do to get themselves out there to be successful.
I love that analogy.
One of the things that I want to talk about is building generational wealth. And you've kind of touched on that a little bit with your scholarship of helping them in 24 months get to making six figures, having their own house. But talk about the pursuit of generational wealth for people, because sometimes we hear that term and we don't really talk about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Most people that own homes have been able to pass their home on to a relative.
Mhm.
And so generational wealth is built through home ownership and through owning property. One of the problems was that at a period of time, African Americans weren't allowed to buy homes, right? And they weren't awarded that opportunity. So there is, this imbalance of wealth in our community going back before 70 years, 80 years ago, whatever. I believe that everybody should have the opportunity to be a homeowner if they're financially solvent and responsible. In fact, we're going to be working with a company on doing contracts for deeds where we can take people that are in renting and going directly to home ownership, doing large scale conversions. So that'll be something, because the rates are inching, up 7%, they'll probably go up to 8%. Have to be diverse in what we do. And it's always about being able to zig and zag. What does that look like? And you have to move quick. I've been preaching to my team in our meetings. We have meetings twice a week, 2 hours a day, so 4 hours a week, and a daily huddle every day at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
My people are engaged. If you set an appointment, you ring the bell. If you have a closing, you ring the bell. If you get a listing or a listing appointment or a new pending, you ring the bell. The bell got rung already like 7 times this morning. I've been talking about it for months, 6 months, how the market is shifted and the market's changing. We have to get ahead of it. We have to do more. So this type of market requires an enormous amount of action, and it just requires doing more. So I decided several months ago to do these Facebook Lives, 3, 4. This week I did 5 lives at 8:05 a.m. That means I had been to the gym, walk to the gym, walk home, shower, walk back to the office by 8:05 to be doing more. So it requires more, not just of us as a leader. It requires more. It requires more of working with the sellers, educating them about what's going on and what's happening. You can't run comps up of what's sold in the last 6 months.
Right.
You have to go back over a year ago and look at what sold then. Because there was a part of this bidding war that people just bid over 10% or 5% over ask just because.
Yeah.
And that's not real. Just desire is not real. Doesn't mean it's worth that.
Well, and the challenging thing for agents is the rates are out of their control, and yet they still have to have sales to earn money to put food on the table and pay their mortgages. And so, like you said, you have to do more work to probably get the same results. It might take 2 times or 3 times more work to get the same results that you got a month ago, or I should say like a year ago. And so as agents, that's how you have to adapt.
I think that will send some people packing their bags.
Yes.
It always does. It always does. I mean, I've been in since 2004 I entered, and I've seen, people exit. There was the exit in 2009, 10. People just couldn't do it. I mean, I was really doing really well, and people were not doing anything. And I was almost embarrassed for doing well.
I remember the team that I was on previously had been in existence in the last downturn. And they said, at that time, people just wanted to know, like, can you actually sell my house? Commission, you didn't have to necessarily argue about what's your commission. It's, can you sell my house? It was really important. And, we're certainly not there yet, but you don't know where the market's going to go. I mean, it's certainly changed a lot, and it's changed a lot here just in the last couple of weeks. And I know there's other markets that are seeing a lot more change than we are here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but yeah, as agents, you have to adapt. And you've seen a lot over the years. You've seen the ups, you've seen the downs.
I pulled the numbers yesterday for the market update, and inventory is increasing, but it's down. So that means that the pending sales are down.
Mm-hmm.
There's not more listings because those sellers are also buyers,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't buy because the mortgage that they wanted to have has doubled. Say it was 7,000. They're upgrading people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was $7,000. Now it's 12. They're like, not doing that. So they're staying. You have that. Then you have, the inventory overall is about 4.6 months for under $1 million. 1
Mm-hmm.
million to 2 million, it's 11 months, and 2 million and up, it's 30 months. This does not include any shadow inventory that's not currently active on the market. So we have a lot of new development that's not listed. So I'd say the high end is probably more like 7 years of inventory. The 1 to 2 is probably more like 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the under 1 million is probably more like 6 or 7. It's not reflected just yet though. And you have to be able to know all that other data and be able to figure that out, because you really need, as a broker, agent, whatever, you need to really understand what the absorption rates are so that you can explain to your seller, listen, do you have 11 months to wait?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how long it could take if not one other home came on the market.
Yep.
And if they say no, then the response is, then we have to figure out how to be the number one best priced value home to be the next one sold, or we're going to be waiting a year.
Having those hard conversations with sellers is really important. Like, you have to be honest with them, because what they hear might be what they want to hear, which is still 6 months ago, 12 months ago, if I put my home on the market and I get 15 offers in the weekend and it's gone. And so you have to cast a realistic explanation to them of, here's where we're at today. That market's gone. That market, it's not there anymore. You could have sold then. We're not there. But honesty is important to them, because if you don't want to have them coming to you when it doesn't sell the first weekend saying, what did you do wrong? It's your fault. You have to educate them. This is the market that we're in. Anything more that you want to share here as we talk about, you building your team? We didn't get really to talk about, having a mortgage company as a part of what you're doing from a business building entrepreneurship standpoint. Anything that you want to share for other entrepreneurs listening out there of, building their business, tips that you've learned along the way?
One of the things is, slow and steady wins the race, right? Get up every day, be consistent, persistent. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes way longer than you think. And be patient. I mean, we just opened a mortgage company this year, and it's coming along. It's a process like anything else. We're doing a JV with a title company. Hopefully a goal by year end is to have that, together and up and running. And some other things that we have going on along the way. I'm doing the book, Fearless Female Leaders or Untold Stories Revealed. And that's not about being fearless. It's about being fearful and being fearless anyway by doing it. So we all have that fear, and the fearless part is about the fact that we take the action, and we go ahead and we do what we're afraid of, and then telling your story. So I'm doing a collaboration book. So we're still looking for some women to collaborate on that, and also was turned into a year-long mastermind. And the opportunity to be on some other women's podcasts. So lots of good stuff. What I say is follow your passion, figure out what you want, and lay out the vision. And why are you doing it all? And it doesn't have to be a big why. It could just be, and you know what? It doesn't have to be a big vision. It could be whatever it is that you want, but figure out what it is that you want, and then just take consistent action on it every day.
I love what you said about being fearless and fearful. I have a new agent joining our team, and she's like, we were talking about some of the challenges that come up, the deals that fall through, the adversity that happens. And she's like, Mike, how do you respond to those things? And I was like, you just have to move forward. Like, if a deal falls through, it falls through. You do all that you can in that moment to save the deal, or you do all that you can to hold it together. Sometimes it makes sense to, sometimes it doesn't. But when it's done, you might have a 5-second pity party, but then you have to move on to the next one, because the income that you thought you were going to have, you don't have. And so that's where the beauty is. You can get as many closings as you want. So if you needed to have that one close, to make your mortgage payment, well, then you got to go find another one, and you just have to keep stepping forward. And I was telling her that most days, there's every day where there's a moment where you feel like a failure. You know, there's something that happened, some adversity that happened, some complexity that happened. And so, yeah, you could just curl up in a ball in my corner of my office here and say, well, I'm just going to take the rest of the day off. You know, like that one bad thing happened, or you go find a good thing that happens, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's all about, we say start every day at zero, pretend like you have no money in the bank, you have no deals, and what are you going to do, and how much action are you going to take today?
Yeah.
And not being attached to the outcome of the deal, focusing on the relationship, not the deal, and not being emotional. We get paid to be unemotional, to have no emotion, to be the facilitator in the transaction so that the clients are not emotional. They're paying us to be a professional. Yep. And so show up like one.
Well, for anybody that, is loved hearing you and wants to learn more about you or reach out to you, how can they do so?
They can check me out on my website, mqrealestate.com. I'm on Instagram with by Sold by MQ. Facebook, just my name, Maria Quattrone. You can always reach me at any of those things. They can direct message me or reach me at maria@callmq.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maria, for coming on and sharing your inspiring story of not only being successful, but helping others. I think that's the key. You know, you have a responsibility to help others along the way. And I love the vision that you have of bringing people into real estate, showing them success, helping them be successful and build generational wealth. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mike, for the opportunity.